Hi there. For my fieldwork intervention assignment thus far, I have begun the implementation of self-management. With time being of the essence, with the school year coming to an end, I created a calendar of when I wanted each step to be done so I could make sure I could finish the assignment before 8th grade activities started happening and school got out. I took week 1 and week 2 of this class to read the fieldwork assignment, observe the classroom, and decide what student and behavior I wanted to target for the fieldwork assignment. I also decided during these weeks which evidence-based practice I felt would be best to implement for the chosen student and the targeted behavior. As I mentioned earlier in my video journal, the week 3, I chose an 8th grade student. The target behavior was on-task behavior, and we would be using self-management. The student would be tracking whether he was on or off task using a timer. Every 5 minutes he would mark on his tracker if he was on task with the smiley face, coloring it in, or off task he would color in the sad face. During week 3, I did a reinforcer survey with the student to see which reinforcer he would be using. He chose Wingstop lunch with his teacher as his big prize. Also during week 3, I spent more time observing the student in every single class to get baseline data in order to determine the initial criterion for success for him. At the end of week 3, I met with the student and we talked about what behaviors were on task and what behaviors were off task. This was a really good activity to do with him. It made him really think about what he did in class and if that was on or off task. We had one discussion about him reading his personal novel that he brings to school. And while we discussed that reading was great at times, it would be considered off task if the teacher was talking or teaching and he was expected during that time to do other classwork. As an 8th grader, we really only had weeks 4 and 5 left of the school to do the implementation of the self-management, the tracking of it. Because within the last 2 weeks, he has statewide testing and 8th grade field trips, and really the activities have become more project-based and fun stuff. So on Monday of week 4, we did a practice round of tracking in small group using the timer, using the tracker, kind of seeing how that would work. We again talked about how many smiley faces he would need to get in order to get his reinforcer. Based on his baseline data, he needed 3 smiley faces out of 7. He knew he'd be tracking for 4 to 5 days, and so we based the total amount of smiley faces on that for his grand prize. On Tuesday, we started the self-tracking for him. I also tracked while he did it to ensure fidelity. So I was in there with him and he was tracking and I was tracking on a separate paper to kind of see how they matched up. And he did great with it. His on-task behavior increased significantly that first day. This was also important that we used it on that one because it was actually a testing day. And for him, he knew we had talked about to show on-task behavior during a testing day, he'd have to be showing his work. And so it was great. He did a lot better. So on Wednesday, it was going to be day 2 of tracking and implementing the self-management. However, the student got sick. So he came to school. He was pretty miserable. He didn't want to do anything. I did try encouragement, pep talks, what the smiley face is going to do. And he refused to start his timer or do any work. And he ended up leaving school early because he was sick. And then he was absent on Thursday and Friday of last week as well. So it kind of cut into a lot of our implementation of self-management. This is really the last week to implement the evidence-based practice. I really only have Tuesday and half day Wednesday because of the 8th grade activities that are starting to happen. They're doing a couple field trips and off-campus activities. So I will do my best to complete all the days and having him track. But there's also another wrinkle. My kids got sick too. So I'll just do the best I can to finish this. But regardless of what happens, the prep and recognizing his own behavior has been a valuable first step for him. I think he is invested in tracking himself. I've seen that. And so hopefully this is information that I can pass on to his high school case manager so it can continue to be valuable for him.